Hi, my name is Bridget, and I'm going to be talking to you today about my poster board book summary that I did for our cumulative project for this course. I've organized my 10 texts by guided reading level, so you'll find as I go through my presentation that they will be becoming increasingly difficult. You can also see that we have different sections just to make it easier for your reference. The book and the summary, the various reading levels available, some literacy strategies you could use with the book, some activities and how they connect to curriculum, as well as some accommodations that you could use. So for Brown Bear, there's a short summary here of the book if you need to read it. Here are, again, the grade levels, reading levels, how many pages. In terms of literacy strategies, I would probably use guided reading with this book. I also think that storyboards would be a really good use of literacy strategies in this course of this text because the students can engage in some sequencing of which animals they saw first. There are some connections that you can make to social studies. There are some literacy connections that you can make. And then for the accommodations, I suggested a read aloud, or you can do the big book edition found at Lakeshore Learning right here, where you can purchase larger text for those kids in your class who might have visual disabilities. The next book I have is We're Going on a Bear Hunt. Again, feel free to read over my summary. I will put it in the text box below this for you. Here are the reading levels for the text. I suggested doing shared reading as well as storyboards again for this literacy strategy. Storyboards are probably one of my most favorite things to use with this book. Oftentimes with storyboards, we cut the pages out of the book, laminate them, and then get the kids to place them in order. But you can also incorporate art into this and have kids come up with their own storyboards and place them in sequencing order. Again, I have some connections to social studies and literacy over here. And then accommodations for this, again, is the read aloud. And you can supply students with story bags. I highly recommend you check out this link. It's a really fun way to present stories to kids who might have behavioral issues and can't focus throughout the whole text, those who have visual or auditory delays. This adds more of a textile experience to the reading to keep them engaged. The next book I looked at is called First Day Jitters. Here is your summary, reading levels. I suggested a double entry journal with this one. Now, some people might think that at the K-2 level that a double entry journal might be too difficult, but I really liked how our text highlighted that we can still do double entry journals with pictures. So I would ask, this book is very cute if you haven't read it yet. It's a bit of a twist and play on words where you think a student is afraid of going to school on the first day, but it's really the teacher. So it would be a fun activity to do a prediction versus what really happened, where the students can draw pictures if they're not able to write to engage in the double journal entry. Also, this book would work really well as an interactive read aloud. Again, I've had some activity connections to the curriculum, both two different literacy activities, and again, for UDL checkpoints, you could check out the YouTube Read Aloud. The next book I looked at is by one of my favorite authors, who is Patricia Polacco, and it's called My Rotten Red-Headed Older Brother. So, summary, different reading levels, 32 pages. I would use book talks and shared reading for this book summary, and there are so many curriculum connections you can make with this. So I've done some math ideas, literacy, social studies, and then again, there's the read aloud for those kids who have trouble with print. Stregonona, another one of my favorites by Tommy DePola. Here is your summary, reading levels. I thought it'd be really fun to use a Venn diagram in this book as part of our literacy strategies, where we could compare the two different characters. The characters in this story are an old woman with a magic pot and a young man who wants to steal her pot. So this would be really great for enhancing comprehension, and the book could also be used as part of a shared reading strategy. Again, I have 2 activities connected to the curriculum here for activities, and a read aloud on YouTube for accommodations. Next book, also by Patricia Polacco, is Thank You, Mr. Fokker. This is kind of an interesting book. I put the genre as nonfiction because it is based on a true story. And some of the literacy strategies I suggested are book talks and questioning the author. So since this book is really about the author herself, I figured the literacy strategies would be a good opportunity to use for questioning the author. That would create a lot of engagement. So some activities connected to social studies and literacy. And some accommodations, again, the read aloud on YouTube, which is always awesome for students who have trouble reading. And then also, if visual information was too much, there's also a great SoundCloud recording where students can listen to the book read to them, like an audiobook. The next book is Captain Underpants. So this is a bit different than the other books in terms of that it's a comic strip type of book and lots of interactive pages. I know some students I've taught with before really love these flipperama pages in it. So it offers a lot of opportunity for those reluctant readers. So again, the summary is here for you, the reading levels. I thought the author's chair and a storyboard would be good strategies here. I've added some connections to social studies, literacy. And then in terms of accommodations, there's a YouTube read aloud. And then also I have the idea of using multiple media for communication. Students can use softwares like Book Creator and speech to text to create their own narratives for 3W3. So if you're choosing to use this activity where students are rewriting the end of the comic, don't necessarily only offer the opportunity to rewrite it, but they can also use software to create things. A Summer to Die. So as you can see, we're going up in grades here. This is, in our certification, we would use this in grade 6. It's 154 pages. The summary is here. This type of book, we're looking at a little bit more of a focus on comprehension and writing in this age, and I would really recommend using a reading log where kids can check in at the end of every chapter and offer some reflections and highlight interesting quotes and vocabulary that they've noticed throughout the book. Quick writes are also another great tool that we could use with this book. I've included also some activities to social studies, literacy, and then again, you can offer the audiobooks to the students. I've included links to everything if you need them, and also illustration through multiple media, so kids can watch the actual movie of it instead of just listening to the audiobook. The Willoughbys is another one with the same kind of accommodations. The Netflix movie is available that they can watch. Not on here, but it would be really cute to do a Venn diagram comparing the textbook to the Netflix book, so that way you have a lot of inclusion. You could separate the class. Maybe your not so stronger readers are going to be watching Netflix, and your stronger readers will be reading the book, and then they can come together to create a Venn diagram. Again, summary, reading levels, reading logs, interactive reading, also good for these little chapter books for young adult fiction, and some connections to social studies and literacy. And my last book is another nonfiction book. This is Face to Face with Gorillas. There's the summary here, your reading levels. This is, I think, would be the classic example to use your KWL chart, where students will start with a K column and then fill out the W and L towards the end. I also really love the tea party strategy. This will have the teacher looking ahead of time through the text to pick out words that might be difficult or concepts that might be difficult. Then the teacher distributes it to the students, and then the students sort of mingle around in this tea party, introducing everybody to the concepts, so that when you read through the book, the concepts and vocabulary are familiar to the children, so they have more confidence. Some literacy accommodations here. Also UDL checkpoints. There was no direct audiobook found for this one, but you could offer an alternative book found here on Google Play, which you can compare and contrast information as well. And you can also allow students to watch gorillas live on webcams as part of interest recruitment. And finally, here is my complete bibliography. If you're looking for any of the books that I talked about in my presentation today, I encourage you to visit this last page and get all the information you need. Thank you.